Thank you so much for tuning in today to listen to us. I have here like two great ladies, Brittany and Alexis. We're gonna talk about their business, and which is like, I'm gonna leave them talk about themselves and talk about what they are doing. But generally, we're gonna tap into grants and government's contracts, and I will let them speak about it. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming. I'm very happy to have you here today. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself, Brittany, to the people on the page?
Sure. I am Brittany C. Leon, and I am with my company, Right Division Plainly LLC. And so who I am and what I do is I am a faith-based company, but I'm not only exclusive or tailored to helping the faith-based community. I write grants for all projects, individuals, businesses, projects, programs, whatever you need. And I tailor it to the needs of my audience. So whatever they need in business, if they're a nonprofit, if they're an individual, small business, trying to expand to a franchise, that's something that I do. And I also provide grant education for those who, they're looking to break in, or they just have questions about it. Maybe they're curious about it. Maybe they're like, no, I don't want to be a grant writer. I just want to know what I'm getting into with grants. That's what I do as well.
Awesome. Thank you for coming here today. Alexis, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi guys, well, my name is Alexis Williams. The name of my company is called Grants by Lexi, and I am a grant consultant who takes the guesswork out of funding and take the fluff out, all of the headaches and strategy, and just give you something simple and break it down. A lot of times in the grant world, we get a lot of jargon and confused on where do we find grants? What is grants about? Can I even find a grant writer? Because usually grant writers are missing in action. It's hard to find. Well, I'm here to answer and service you. I do grant consulting. I help give you grant funding strategies to be able to maximize your funding with your company. I have a strategy where when we do grant research, I go after 100 grants, research it, drop it down to 50, and then we go after the top 3. And then with my grant services, we like to do something what we call, when I write grants, leveraging. So I may leverage the grant to maximize your funding potential. I also show nonprofit organizations how they can also get contracts with the government as a nonprofit. It is possible. And I teach people who are LLC businesses or sole proprietorships how they can win contracts with the government with bidding, how to set that up with the government and what that looks like. I teach that on a daily basis. And then I help you structure your board. A lot of times people think they're ready for grant readiness, but they're not, because their board is not structured. And usually it takes, if you're a new nonprofit, you'll overturn your board within the first 3 years. So I take the guesswork out of that. And I have also a simple system. If you're a nonprofit organization, want to get started and don't know how, it's a 12-step system. Either you can purchase it and do it on your own and allow me to just make sure you're doing it right for my people that are on the budget, or I can do it all for you. So those are the things that we do here at Grants by Lexi.
Awesome. That's great. That's really interesting. And we're going to talk in more details right now. Like, can you actually talk about what's grants for those who don't know already what is grants?
Oh, sure. So what grants are is a written proposal that can be turned into monetary value for whatever the nonprofit, whatever their program, project, whatever they need assistance with. Because sometimes, for as far as projects go, maybe the project costs $5,000, for example. and maybe this person doesn't have that type of money in their mattress or in their bank account or in a trust fund somewhere. So when writing a proposal, the goal is to have the funder interested in that proposal and also fund it. That funding is where the monetary or the money comes in. So that project, whoever writes the proposal for the project, it gets funded and they now have the money and resources they need to put their program into action and not just constantly tell you, oh, it's so great, it's so good, and you know, they don't have proof to back that up. So that's what grants are. That's, you know, it's a way to get what you need by way of proposal. And that could be that can be written to the funder themselves from the public-private sector, like Alexis mentioned, for contracts like federal government contracts. That could be for the philanthropists, that could be for even for the smaller nonprofit organizations that they have out there that are maybe giving mini grants. Maybe you won't get that much, but it's still something to take the costs away from what you're trying to fund next.
Awesome. And are the grants for nonprofits only, or does businesses also can take, is it available for businesses or only for nonprofits?
Yes, it is available for businesses. It's available for nonprofits, like even for individuals. For example, there's rental assistance programs, you know, due to COVID-19, that people are still trying to get on their feet with either their mortgage or their rental. So those would be considered grants for individuals. So you have a personal need that maybe you ran out of money, you know, your job recently had a layoff, and you're like, oh my gosh, if I don't pay my bills soon, I'm going to lose my house. I depleted my savings. What do I do? That's kind of a resource to, you know, to go ahead and fill out that grant so you can get the money you need for your house. That doubles for businesses, nonprofits, fundraising. Help me out, Alexis.
Yeah, so like if you guys for individuals, it's no limit on that. There's some philanthropists that specialize in certain things that they want to give LLCs, regular businesses, and they give grants just based on certain specifics. So like if I have a lot of money, like you have your Mark Cuban, your NFL players or celebrities, they may have what we call philanthropy grants, and they may just want to help young girls do research in science. And so it's not just based on if you have a nonprofit organization, they may just be geared to giving grants away for individuals with that special interest in mind. So there's definitely different grants out there for businesses. You just have to research in depth what you're doing. So I do small business grants in my research search. Also, the SBA gives away, we see like the PPP, those things were grants for individuals who applied when the stimulus. The president just recently passed a stimulus act in March, where also the funding, I'm out of Texas, has just been released, but in other states it has been released, and you want to go to your county, like whatever your state or county is. Like for us, I'm in Dallas County. So you want to go there and check that out under the CARES Act, and then apply for that grant, if whether you do stuff in the community individually or a nonprofit.
Awesome. That's great information. A lot of people don't know, but as you know, like this couple of years, there are a lot of scams, like banks you would get phone calls from banks saying this is your bank and it's not your bank, and you get a lot of scam even from the IRS itself, like not IRS, like, but I mean people claiming they are from IRS. Does that apply for grants as well?
Well, yes, there's plenty of scammers out there that will tell you certain things. And so on our podcast that me and Brittany has together called Lady Grant Scribes, we address this very issue. And Brittany had a client, and I'm gonna let her expound on that. She had a client that came to her that came across a scammer. But you do have that where people will sit there and tell you, and one key markers to know you're getting scammed, if a person comes to you and say, hey, I can write a grant for you and you can give me the funds out of that grant, that's unethical. So they can't do that. Just FYI, we do not take money out your grants because you have to allocate for that money when you get that money. It's like you're going to get audited by the funder to make sure you use proper use of the funds that you said you were going to do. So no one should be telling you I can write you a grant and then take my portion out of it. That's not going to happen. Or if someone say I can guarantee you this funding, that's another indication that you're getting scammed, because no one can, grants are not guaranteed. They're very competitive. So it's more likely the chances that you will get one based on how your grant writer position you and your organization is positioned, right, which is key. To make a great winning proposal, but no one can guarantee because it's not. So that's another sign if someone's scamming you. And if they say, oh, I can get you millions of dollars of that, these grants. Well, if your organization haven't been around a lot of years to establish themselves and credibility, it would be hard for them to go after the high dollar grant. So these are all indicators of scams. And a lot of times people who are individuals tend to get more scammed than nonprofits, because it's grants out there, like we said, for businesses, but there's not a whole lot. They're more so for nonprofit organizations. And there are some that don't care if you're, like we said, an LLC, but be careful, especially when they say, oh, I can get this from this. No. So Brittany, do you want to share the incident with your client that you had that was a great testimonial from him and how you was able to help him not get scammed?
Yes. So first and foremost, we love social media because this one actually came from Facebook, and they put, this is the thing I love about Facebook and Instagram. They will, if it's a scam, they will make an alert, like they'll put it out there and say, hey, if so-and-so organization claims that they're giving money, this is a scam. So that's the first part. But it's just like that thing. He didn't go to that part of Facebook where they tell you that. So it's like this person reached out to him, and red flag, funder won't reach out to you. Someone claiming to be a funder of this grant organization reached out to him and said, hey, I can get you anywhere between $100,000 and $300,000 for you, for your house or your apartment, wherever you live. And he was like, I don't know that much about grants, but I don't know if I can trust this. Let me contact Brittany and just double check and verify and make sure. It took me like 10 minutes or less to contact him. And then he told the scammers, he said, I know a grant writer. So, this sounds like it's good to be true. I know a grant writer. I'm passing this by her, and they blocked him. But they, it was that promise of, oh yeah, absolutely. This is just for you. And I was letting him know that, of course, after that conversation, if you're getting $100,000 or $300,000, it's not going to you. They may have that amount of money, or the funder may say they have that amount of money, but it's supposed to maybe be split up between, say, 10, 15 people. They're not going to give you the entire, 100,000, 300,000. Or if they do give it to you at once, that's a federal grant, and that money is supposed to last you between 3 to 5 years, however long they say it's for. But that's for you to utilize and leverage at your disposal. When they give it to you at once, they're like, okay, well, in 3-5 years, you're gonna, you're gonna tell us whenever it's time to reapply that in this amount of time, this is exactly what you say you're gonna spend it on for the past 3 years. And so, okay, well, we can give you another $100,000, $300,000. So yeah, that's another thing. If they're telling you they can give you $1 million, you like as an individual, no, that's not how they work. And also, for grant writers can be scammers. Not us though, we're legit, but for the
Thank
ones
God.
that are scammers, they'll say, let's just say, the grant that a person needs for their organization is $9,000. If they tell you that they need about 2/3 of that up front, run for the hills. Don't look back, because that's a scam. Why, if the grant you're supposed to be winning for me is $9,000, why do I have to give you $6,000 up front? And then, like Alexis said, grants aren't guaranteed. So this grant is not promised, it's not guaranteed, it's not set in stone. And
Right.
then you're not updating me on, okay, well, we did this and this, we wrote this and this,
Right.
and we didn't get it, or this is the reason why we didn't get it, or it looks like a potential, I believe we got it. You're not, as a client, that's important. I want to know, I want to track. And if I have no way of tracking, but you're saying, oh yeah, just give me the money, I'll get you the grant, and you skip town with that money, then that person is strung out. Like,
Yeah, I want to clear up something though, like, cause like, let's say the grant is $9,000. A lot of grant writers do have their set fee, and some of their fees may rank up to 5,000 or higher, depending on the grants that you're going after. So let's not get that late, because when you made the example, I don't want people to think, oh, she charged me this fee. No, that may be the grant writer's like fee, but just like Brittany said, you have to get follow up, what's going on, what they're doing, and also if a grant writer is telling you I need a contingency of, because we kind of went over this in our podcast about what is contingency fee and contingency pay. There's a totally difference. So if someone wants a contingency fee, run, because again, that's what we're saying, where they're asking for so much up front, or they continue dipping in your grant award money. Know that you should never pay a grant writer out of your funds, because each of those dollars have to be allocated. You can't say, oh, I paid my grant my grant writer this amount of money. They're like, no, we gave you this specifically for the proposal that you said this was going to feed X amount of kids if you're a homeless shelter, and I'm going to do it by XYZ days. It needs to be allocated from the cent. I mean, even from the penny, dollar to the penny. So you got to be on point, or especially you don't want to play around with federal grants and don't do that. You can get imprisonment, guys. It's fraud. So make sure that you are not getting scammed the wrong way. But if a grant writer is telling you, hey, we're gonna put out a contingency fund, meaning like you got to pay that grant writer upfront a certain amount of contingency if things happen or go wrong, or if your organization may want to go after another grant or have to do extra research, they can pull from that if need be, so you don't have to pay extra and you're not blindsided as an organization. That's a difference. Contingency fee goes for anything that goes wrong, not contingency pay where you continue paying a grant writer out. And it's unethical from the Grant Writers Association, guys, for any grant writer to say, pay me out of your funds. So now you're set with scams. So you guys know what to look out for.
Well, scammer sells the dream. I have a lot of people, because in my service, I offer grant readiness, especially in the financial side, because people, they don't take care of the finances, bookkeeping, budgeting, all of these things. They don't understand, they cannot apply for grants yet. They're not ready. So I offer that in my firm, and I get a lot of people saying, no, what if I didn't get a grant? I'm like, I cannot guarantee. Okay, can you just operate on $100, and then if we get the grant, we pay from that a percentage. Like, no, it's not ethical. People have have a difficulty understanding that, because because a lot of scammers out there telling them something else. So yeah, I mean, it's a very important topic, like, to be discussed. Thank you so
So
much.
all they have to do is subscribe to Lady Grant Scribes. We're on all podcast things. We talk about these things and to educate folks. So
awesome. And I'm gonna put all this information so you can contact them on the video after we finish. So you can tune onto their podcast and like contact them if you need anything, any help with getting grants for your business or nonprofits or whatever you'd like to do with what they're gonna explain later. Yeah, so can you tell our audience how to break into the grant world? Like, what do they need to do in order to be ready to get the grants?
yeah, Brittany, you want to answer that question?
Absolutely. So here's what you got to do. Okay, first you got to create a diversion. No, I'm kidding. But two, if you want to get into the grant world, I would say first, follow us on all our platforms, which, like you said, you'll post in the description. That's the first thing, because we what our podcast is dedicated to is informing those who are brand new. You maybe just found out about grants and you want to start writing them, but you don't know where to start. That's a good place to start. I mean, it's kind of like a shameless plug, but yeah, you want to start with us because we're gonna make sure we tell you the truth about it. And also, if you're one of those people that's like, okay, I'm jumping in, I'm gonna do this, and then you find out what it is and you're like, nope, I'm gone. We told you what you were getting into before you decided to go ahead and get in there. But start with Lady Grant Scribes. Also, I actually have an ebook, 2 ebooks that I'm giving away for a limited time for free, that actually explain the grant process, like from beginning to end, like not only what you'll need to write in your proposal, but what you'll how to think like the funder, what the funder's thinking, how I got funded in my first year of writing grants, which is like unheard of for someone starting out and just breaking in. Also, just it's kind of hard to research, and this is kind of like the reason why my part of it started Lady Grant Scribes. I wanted to learn how to become a grant writer, but my frustration was Google searching, on YouTube, I'm everywhere on everybody's stuff, and it's just kind of like I'm not getting what I need. Or I'll listen to person's A YouTube channel, and then I'll read a different person, completely different background. I'll read their blog, and it's the same video I just watched, and that was so frustrating for me. And I'm like, I know I can't be the only one that's going through this. So I would say that's a good place to start. Again, that'll be linked in the description below. When you click the link, you just need to sign up for your give me your name and your email, and it's a direct download to your computer, your phone, your tablet, or whatever device that you have. So that's one way of breaking in. And also, if you if you don't get to us before then, sit under some grant writers. That's exactly what I did. Some that had 20, 25, 30 years in experience, and who didn't mind taking their time to tell me the ins and outs, the secrets, the what to avoid and how to avoid, things like that. So yeah, also I got not only ebooks about it, but besides my own that I wrote, but I went and bought not ebooks, but regular paperback hardcover books explaining the process of grant writing.
Mm-hmm.
And grant writing for dummies is a good place to get started. So that's one of the ways that's some of the ways that I got started in it. Just, you know, being thirsty for that knowledge and just going after it and you know, utilizing the browser search in order to get it.
Right. So some of the ways how I broke into the industry getting started, I was a teenager. So for all these young people, because I work with young people with my nonprofit Junior Billionaires, you want to volunteer, people. Volunteer at churches and nonprofit organizations and sit under grant writers and ask them to teach you knowledge. And start with sitting under us. We love to train and help the novice grant writer get started. We're actually putting together courses where we're going to be teaching you guys under Lady Grant Scribes how to break into the industry, what that looks like, and being able to help you navigate work. So that'll be coming soon. And if there's some things you guys want to see or workshop for the novice grant writers, email us at grantsbylexi@gmail.com or ladygrantscribes@gmail.com, and we'll do that workshop and help you get into the industry. And so, or reach out to us. We would love to service you, show you how, and navigate the right way in the industry. We take the fluff out of it. We don't cut any corners, and we give you real authentic information, because everyone right now is giving fluff or saying, oh, we can't share this, as if it's a mystery. That's one of the reasons why we started Lady Grant Scribe, so we can educate people on and to visibly see your grant writers in front of you and kind of take you behind the veil, so we can take the guesswork out of it, so we can equip you with the proper knowledge, so your nonprofit organization or your business can be strong and you can be the creative people you are, and know that you can relax and breathe, that someone's actually walking you through it and not giving you theory, but practicality.
Awesome. And for the organizations who, you know, let's say I just started my nonprofit, and usually people, they just register and they want to go out looking for grants. Can these people find grants?
Absolutely. And that's another thing that I do. And also as a grant consultant, the brand spanking new, you just started yesterday, nonprofits I work with, I help them not only get structured properly, but to also be eligible to align themselves with grants that are right for them. So yeah, because I've heard this, oh, you can't get funded until you can prove that you've been a nonprofit for 5 years. And it's like, how? That's kind of like I find that to be the equivalent of like someone who's just starting out working. You have no experience, but every job interview you go on and say, you need experience. And you're like, well,
Where do I get
that?
How do I get that if you won't hire me so I can get experience, you know? So it's one of those things where that's what I do as an individual. That's what Alexis does as well. That's what we do together as Lady Grant Scribes, just making sure that, hey, you can leverage these grants when you just started yesterday. You don't have to, you know, like I said, you don't have to follow that narrative. Oh, okay, I'm waiting on a 5th year to get funded, and you still don't have what you need. And you know, what if you're not what if you don't know, because you're a brand new nonprofit, what if you don't know that you need certain bylaws? What if you don't know that you need certain board members sitting on there for you? Not a panel of family members, but just, you know, people that have the experience of sitting on a board and being on a board. So that's another thing that that Alexis and myself do.
So guys, another way of making sure you get started, yes, you don't have to be as a startup nonprofit spanking new, but let's face it, anything like a business, when someone's going to invest in you or you take your business to an investor, they want to know, did you do any sales? What are you doing on your own? It's similar, the same thing with a nonprofit organization, and we call that fundraising and sponsorship. So you must do that first. And who to have your back on that and to make sure the best interest of the nonprofit is getting these things is your board. And so your board also has to pay the nonprofit. It's their job to make sure that the nonprofit organization thrives. So as a startup, make sure that you have the proper foundation as a proper board that can advise you right, protect you legally, make sure they're giving to your organization and make sure it thrives. And you guys are doing fundraising strategies, reaching out to communities like Home Depot is one, for instance, that gives sponsorship grants. You reach out to them for your projects. You commute with other nonprofit organizations that meets the same need assessments as yourself and has some of the same goals in mind, and you sit under them. Sometimes you can partner together. Funders love that because now they're going to give you more. They see that they are getting two knowledgeable people and you're fostering under someone that has knowledge to be able to make sure you're spending the funds right that they give, and you can even leverage more money. So that's how it's a misconception when people first start out, that they start their nonprofit, they think, oh, now I'm gonna get so many grants and go after it, right? We're excited, we got that exempt status, but no. In grant writing, you have to make sure that when you get grants, it's only 35% of your budget. Okay, so the rest of that is a mixture of sponsorships and donations, fundraising. So make sure that your accountant or the person that you have over that is making sure you allocate that. And you want to balance. You don't want one coming from a set donor that keeps giving you a lot of money, because what if that donor, Father forbid, maybe an older person and they passed away. So now you was highly reliant on that and you didn't have a balance in your structure of funding, then now your organization may go under. So these are little tips, guys, as a startup you want to look after. Yes, make sure you're doing sponsorships. Reach out to me and Brittany. I also have a workbook. It's a workbook, and I call it that for a reason. It's the 12-step guides in starting a nonprofit organization. It walks you, it gives you hands out, fill in the blank, how to do your incorporations, from how you get your name, how you do your needs assessment, from how to get tax exempt status. Do you want to do 1023? EZ, which is if you're getting under $50,000 with the IRS, that's the bracket you would be in to fill that form out. Are you doing 1023 where you're saying I'm gonna get more funding than that? Just know with 1023 EZ, tax exemption as a nonprofit, you can have family members on the board. If you do the other one, you can't. So there's certain things that you need to know. So in that workbook, in the 12-step guide, I talk about that. Guys, you can also get more information on this when you go to our workshop. If you're a nonprofit starting out, we have an upcoming grant workshop called the Accelerated Grant Workshop for Nonprofit Startups. You can find that on Eventbrite. You want to go there because we actually teach you step-by-step, fill in the blank. So when you leave there, your organization will be established with incorporation and exempt status.
Awesome. That's a great opportunity. So you mentioned the percentage so can someone pay 100% of their costs, whether they're in business, nonprofit, or personal, from the grants? Can grants cover that much ever?
Well, something I forgot to mention. We have what we call, for nonprofit organizations that's starting, we have something that you can go after called operational costs. So there's operational grants that's for startups to help you fund your staffing, all of those things. And that's the one exception to the rule when you can actually pay a grant writer out of your funds, because it's operational. You're saying, I'm hiring this grant writer to be on my staff full time. And so that's like an employee. And so that's when those grants for that comes into play. But that's only how you can use those grants, only to start up with your startup budget to kind of get the things you need for your nonprofit organization. But if you don't have that, no, you want to get into fundraising, get with a grant writer to help you with fundraising strategies with your organization, and to meet with your board to see what your funding is going to look like. Because grant writers the foundations and grant tours, they look at that, your structure.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. Yeah, thank you. This is some very valuable information you're bringing to the table, ladies. Thank you so much. And do you have anything that you would love for our audience to know about Lady Grant Scribes before we go into the other businesses you do have?
well, I think Lady Grant Scribes, we're on a mission to really educate people about grants, because we see the rise and people starting nonprofits like never before. But guess what? There's a high turnaround too. Within less than 3 months, they're shutting down because they are not properly educated or don't have anyone to hold their hands. So, and we know everybody with the economy, it's our way of giving back in the pandemic. To help educate, and we know everybody don't have a lot of funds to get some of that knowledge, so we're offering it as a service. We want to see organizations blessed, right? We want to see them flourish and go forth, and because they're serviced, they're servicing our community, and we want to be able to make sure they're equipped with the right tools to do such. Okay, so that's why Lady Grant Scribes was created, to take a person behind the veil of the mind of a grant writer, and also to prepare people who want to look for residual income or start a new business based on their knowledge base. A lot of you may have education background in working with youth or working with the city, with certain environmental company. All of these things play key roles and are very helpful in the grant writing world with that knowledge. And so we you to use the niches that you're in as a grant writer. So that's why Lady Grant Scribes were created. We wanted to give back, take you behind the veil, bust up every myth that's out there about grants, and give you practicality that you can follow.
Okay, thank you so much. And Brittany will be back soon. Just would like to go through your business until she comes back. Okay. So tell us about your own business, the Grants by Alexis. What are you? What is it, and what do you do there?
So with Grants by Alexis, I do grant consulting, I do grant research, and I help you get funded by doing your grant writing. I also help you structure and find your board, what to look for, how to find your volunteers to set that up. And I have a la carte services. If you already have a grant writing team and you just may need help with your grant writer needs help reviewing over grants or keeping her structured with project management, I help with that as well. I also do contracts. Like I just not do grants alone in consulting. I do business consulting as well. If you're LLC, where to advertise, set up certain funnels for your organization so you can market properly. I also do contracts. So if you're a LLC or any business or S corps and you're looking to get into contracts with the government and how to bid, I teach you how to do that. I set that up with the government. I teach you and show you where you can go bid on these contracts, as well as making sure you have the right credentials and are properly prepared for that when it comes to disadvantaged businesses. So when you're doing contracts, they really servicing a lot of women business-owned businesses, minority businesses, but you have to have certain certifications for that. And so I teach you how to get that and walk you through the process to get that done. As well as when you are looking for government contracts, they want you to be able to prove that you have a set work history. Well, I can teach you how to leverage that based on your experience. And you want to learn how to subcontract, and then what's primary contracts, how to get your budget for that, and how to write the proposal to go after these contracts. I know that there was one that the military was giving away just to find a person who have white tents. So if you're a tent owner and you sell like camping gear, they gave them $50,000 just for one tent. So that's just to show you guys how much funding's out there. And they can't do it without, within themselves. They actually have to have funding.
Mhm,
And a little tip, because I also do taxes for organizations as far as businesses and personal taxes.
mhm,
This is a win-win situation for nonprofits, because now the tax breaks for businesses, a lot of them are not getting a lot of tax breaks that they was doing for write-offs. And so what the government is saying is, to get those breaks as a business, you have to now go through nonprofit organizations and write that off. So,
mhm.
so
Yeah.
now businesses are looking for nonprofits to give you funding, guys. So make sure
Mhm,
you're meeting with your organizations that are around you, your businesses, because they're getting those tax, that's how they can get these high dollar tax write-offs. So now they're looking for nonprofits to get that if they're a business. But again, like I said, with contracts, even if you're a nonprofit organization, I
mhm,
show you how certain things, depending on your niche, how you can leverage federal grants on that to get a contract with the city.
mhm. Awesome, that's great. And do you do service for people nationwide, or is it a certain state that you can get government contracts with?
So if you're in Canada, yes. And if you're in the US, yes, it doesn't matter what state. And that's a misconception too. Because a lot of times you think that if I start my nonprofit in Texas, am I only limited to Texas? No, you can get funds from
Mhm,
all over and establish your nonprofit in different sectors or branches of your nonprofit organization. So yes, and if you're looking for contracts, that's all over. It doesn't matter. I show you what you need to do, from setting up your business, how to bid, what not to look for, making sure your budget's up
mhm,
there. And I also do, if you guys are in needs for, assistance, virtual assistance, I have a team exactly for that as well, to take the guesswork, the stress out of certain things, if you need that. So you want to book a consultation with me for we to talk about your organization. I like to do a needs assessment if you're a nonprofit, to see if you're ready. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I love your business, but I don't work with every nonprofit, because I want to make sure that you're on the great footing. I do a lot of venting. So I want to make sure. So let's say you say, I want a grant, I need a grant, I want to hire you for that. If you're not ready for that, I'm not going to push you into something just because you have the funds and you want to go after. If it doesn't fit your organization, I want it to thrive and to grow. So if we're at structuring, the board need to be structured, we're going to start there, and then work our way to we're grant ready. So don't get discouraged if you're not. So I work with you at every stage in your process with your organization. So you can reach me at grantsbylexi@gmail.com, or you can go to my website at grantsbylexi.net.site. That's grantsbylexi.net.site. That's my website. You also can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Grants by Lexi. So that's my handle across the board. So if you find me on Facebook, look up Grants by Lexi. If you on Instagram, Grants by Lexi. If you are on LinkedIn, Grants by Lexi. And I've met so much people on LinkedIn asking me a bunch of questions. I'm here to service you guys. Any question that you may have. I have 15 and 30-minute consultations for free. If you want to talk to me more in depth, about an hour, I charge $75 for appointment, just to talk to you if it's more in depth. But you can get me for 15 to 30 minutes for free, guys. I'm here to service you, answer any questions. Don't be shy. There's no wrong answer or question.
Awesome. And don't worry, we're gonna put all the contact information after we finish, so you can just click the link and go and be able to contact Lexi and Brittany. Also, if you have any question, feel free to put a comment and we'll make sure to answer or direct you to where to find your answer if you have any question. Thank you so much, Lexi. Like, I have one last question for you, actually.
Sure.
How would our organization know that they are grant ready?
Well, if you go to my website, I have an assessment that you can download for free that give you all the checklists and checkpoints that you need to know to get yourself grant ready. I also send this to you when you book an appointment with me. I send that first so you can fill that out, so we can kind of go over that a little bit and see where you at. It's a way to show. And so there's key things. Is your board in place? Do you have all your documents? Some people are even not tax exempt status, right? Or they did their tax exempt status wrong. I had a person, we had to redo that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you start a nonprofit organization, you may not get funded. It's just like any other business, guys. When you start a business, you do a needs assessment to make sure that people are wanting the service that you have. So it's the same thing with a nonprofit organization. Let's say you're saying, I want to do homeless shelters in my community. Homeless is so high. But if funders are already funding about 20 in your area, it's already highly saturated. So you don't want to do the same thing. They're not going to give you funding for that if these organizations already been established. But what you could do is do something different. I want to do at-risk LGBT community or at-risk youth, and be able to teach this with behavioral this. Now you're set apart. And so now you are more looked at to get funding, because the others may not specifically work with youth or specifically work with men who have families, because there's a lot of shelters out there just catered to women. So this is something you want to do beforehand. So we look at even that, your structure, and making sure that your grant ready. I had an organization that has been 20 years in the game, and they didn't have everything in order. Now they got some sponsorships and things like that. They was needing operational grants to fund their staff, but they wasn't ready. It was just a little paperwork. And even in that paperwork, if it's whether it's getting your formation articles, setting your bylaws, finding your board, I help you with that process with a la carte prices or my packages to get you ready. So don't be ashamed where you at, guys. And don't be ashamed to ask for help, because you want to service the people. Your heart is gold. You have this vision to change the world and be superheroes. And that's why Lady Grant Scribes is here too, to help scribe you on the right path, as well as Grants by Lexi. We're here to service you and to be that backbone and that support. So
thank you so much, Lexi.
You're welcome.
Brittany, like, do you want to also tell us about...
Can I say one thing? I forgot to give you guys my phone number. My phone number is 214-994-9452. Again, that's 214-994-9452, where you can reach me as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And Brittany, do you want to go over your company and what you are doing? You're on mute.
You're muted.
You need to unmute. Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
I had to switch to my phone because we had like a power outage where I am.
Yeah.
Like the internet's down, nothing seems to be working at this time, but yeah. So
no problem. We're glad to have you back. So
yes,
thanks God for phones.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So Write the Vision Plainly. As I mentioned before, who I am and what I do, Brittany C. Leon. That's what I do, the grant writing part of it. And Write the Vision Plainly, as I mentioned before, it's I'm a faith-based company, but I don't work exclusively with the faith-based community. So that's everyone, every project, you know, regardless of sexual orientation, skin color, all that. So it's what I do is, like I said, mostly catering to grant writing as well as grant structure. Like that's kind of the basis of what I do as a consultant. I also, like on the lines of Alexis, make sure first and foremost, before we have grant structure down packed, let's make sure you're grant ready first. Let's make sure that even if you're not grant ready, just as Alexis, I do help you get grant ready to where, let's just say you're missing a board member, or you think that you're grant ready because you got all the documents that you could ever need for your nonprofit, but with documentation, proving who you are, making sure you have your determination letter, IRS determination letter, or tax exempt status. That's like one aspect of it. The next aspect is to position yourself as a nonprofit to get grant ready. And it's not just nonprofits that I cater to. It's the small business. It's the individual. It's the novice grant writer. It's the one who you want to become a grant writer yourself, or you don't want to become a grant writer. You just want education because maybe you're filling out the grant yourself, and maybe you have a couple questions, but you can't seem to get to the bottom of what it is exactly you need. But by listening to our podcast or following us on our YouTube channel, you get that question answered, or you contact us, you call us direct to have that question answered. So that's something along the lines that I do for my company. Just providing the basics of grant writing. I go in depths of it, as well as making sure that you are eligible for those grants. If you're not, let's work on getting you eligible for those grants, because I don't like just like leaving people hanging like, oh, you're not grant ready, next. Not giving them a chance, just oh, you're not, so bye. Just actually sitting you down, telling you what you need, and then doing a progression, like doing that tracking of the progression. Okay, you were here and now you're here. You may not still be grant ready, but you can honestly say that you upgraded since then. So that's what I do. As far as the consulting side of it, if you are trying to, for example, you already an established nonprofit, you've been out there for 10, 15, 20 years, but you're looking to expand, or you're looking to, you've had the same volunteer staff for the past 5 years, and you're like, I want them on payroll. What do? I also write grants in that aspect as well, for expansion, for, getting bigger, for, just making sure you're secure in what you need for your company, like the inside. So I do the inside and like the outside as well, making sure, you don't get audited by the IRS, because that's a no-no. Making sure you have everything you need as an organization.
Awesome. What's one thing you would like people to know to contact you about the vision plainly? Write the vision plainly. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you got it.
So yeah, what would you like people to know about it?
So what I would like people to know is, yes, grant writing is like a factor. It's like the number one thing that I do, but it's not the only thing that I do. But I do like to provide grant education. I do like to for those who are coming in, and I like to meet people at their level. So like, what if you know absolutely nothing about grants? Okay, I can give you a breakdown of that. What if you know something about grants, but you're filled with all these myths, and you're telling me, oh, well, I heard you could do X, Y, and Z with a grant. And I'm like, no, let's debunk some myths. This is how the grant goes, and it helps to have like knowledge and background in what I do, because now you're getting it from the source. Now I'm telling you, okay, this is correct. What you heard is correct. You can do this. You cannot do that. You're on the right path. Okay, no, that's whoever told you that, I'm sorry, they were being untruthful. So just to clear up a lot of misconceptions, that's another thing that I do as well.
Mhm.
And save them
Awesome. What did you say? I'm sorry.
I said I also save them from grant scams
Oh
because
yeah, that's the most
you know,
important part.
like
Wasting
what
time and money just to get something not true. Yeah.
Yes.
that's true. What my method of doing that is I'm almost never going to tell you what a grant scam looks like. I'm going to show you the proper method of grant
Mhm.
writing. So now that when you see the scam, you'll say, nope, that's not what Brittany told me. Nope, that's not
Uh-huh.
what Alexis told me. I believe this is a scam.
Yep.
Okay, it's a scam. I'm done. Because I think that's where most grant writers get it wrong. Well, if I pump out what grant scams look like, then they'll know. It's actually the reverse. If you tell
Mhm.
me what I need to know, everything what I need to know upfront about grants,
Yep.
that's going to save me from a grant scam because grant scams are kind of they're open ended and they're missing a lot of components, and then they have that promise of we guarantee or we can do
Mhm.
this and we can do that. And as we mentioned earlier, grants aren't guaranteed. We
Right.
can't promise you anything. All we can do is develop a strategy to formulate a winning proposal and go after it that way so you get funded.
Mhm.
Mhm. Awesome. That's very good information. And I love how you guys are working together. It's not just like each one of you like just working on her company and like to bring that um, Lady Grant, Lady
Yeah,
Grant.
Lady Grant Scrubs.
You
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
really
that's
amazing. Yeah, go ahead.
that's what we want to build, and that's why we build Lady Grant Scribes podcast, is to break open the veil so you'll know what grant writers look like, and to help people who really want to break into this industry, because it's hard.
Yeah.
A lot of grant writers are probably shooting us right now, like, don't tell them this, don't
That's
say
Well,
not
that.
secret.
But
education is very important. Like people
it's
should
how
know to go to the right source because people don't have time to do it themselves.
and you don't have time to waste money. We're
Uh-huh.
all about making sure you're equipped. And like I said earlier, I'm not about taking your money. If
Mhm.
it doesn't fit, then I can't
Mm,
work with you and I'm not going to waste your time. If
yeah.
it does, yes. And I'm going to make sure that you're using wisdom when it comes to your money
Mhm.
and spending it. You may say, I'm ready for the grants. Yes, yes. But no, you're not. Let's restructure this. Some people are
Uh-huh.
not going to tell you that, and then that's going to hurt you in the long run. They may get you 3,000 such and such, but then when you want to go after these bigger grants and your structure is not set up, you don't have a needs assessment, you can't justify the means for your projects are not wrote in properly, and we help you with that, both of our companies. What are you going to do? Because you got to justify the means. Like, so if I give you XYZ or you service X amount of kids, how is what you're doing with these programs are even affecting and bringing change to solve the problem that your nonprofit exists in the first place? And if
Mhm.
you can't tell that, or you don't have proper people in place to do certain things, and a number I'm just going to give a stolen secret out real quick for your audience, just because they're tuned in. When you're writing your grant proposal, or if you're in education for youth or any grants like that with your programs, if you get a PhD to sign off on it, you're most likely to win your grant, because they look at this as a doctor authorizing it, that you have really did the extensive research, so it's going to be successful, versus you just giving me theory. So
Mhm.
that's another tip to do that. And that secret is, you can go to any school, get a professor for free as a nonprofit organization to get them to review it. So that's just FYI, guys. We
Awesome.
know
Thank you.
we know all the secrets in and out to make sure that you're successful.
And this
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
this this is the reason why you do want to follow us, and you want us to be like your number one people that you follow. Not to
Just
brag,
stock
but to
us.
brag,
We
but
welcome stocking.
we do,
Just stock
because
us.
this is
Uh,
pertinent information that you need to know. We can't have the rest of you guys like um who haven't picked us up. We can't, it's just not in us to be like,
oh, I see they made a grant error, but I'm just keep it on hush hush. I'm not gonna say anything. That's not us. We like to pull the lid off, take you behind the veil, expose those secrets. So yeah, you sit under us. We'll give you more than, more than a handful of secrets that you can do. And also from what I had to do when I first started, I had to do like 1,000 hours of research on every platform just to just to find one person who was willing to say, yeah, I've been in it for 20 years, 20 plus years. Here's what I know. And I'm telling you this because A, you're new. B, you don't know what to avoid, and I do. And C, you can now share this information with other people so they can know what to do next.
Mhm.
And that's the purpose of Write the Vision Plainly, Grants by Alexi, and Lady Grant Scribes,
Yeah.
because that's what we do. We
Yeah.
like to inform you. I know the grant veterans are like, hush, you
Be
giving
quiet.
it all away.
Yeah.
But people are out here struggling because most people, the DIY people, are saying that I can just do this myself, but you may not know
Mhm.
everything you need to, like, the specific components, everything that you need to put the grant together. And that's also, another
Teach that.
giveaway. That's what I share in the ebooks that I'm giving away for a limited time. like like I said, not only the grant structure inside and out, but what the funders look for. How do you get funded? I've gotten funded for over 2,500 in grant funding for an organization that I currently work with. But that's what I'm saying. It took a while for me to do that. Like, my overnight process wasn't overnight, but at the same time, it was worth it because
Mhm.
I feel I take those methods that I used in the struggle to now I give you, the audience, an easy to plug and play template to use that yourself.
Mhm.
And
Right. And we're all about templates. We all about making it easy. That's why we say we take the fluff out of stuff. And guys, we're also about group economics. We know in this time businesses are stronger when you work together. So reach out to us if it's not even about grants in your business. We like to plug and play businesses together and match you guys and do things. And you'll find that out, like I said, with government contracts. You want to have a network of businesses so y'all can subcontracts and go after contracts together.
Mhm.
It's a strategy. And so it's the same thing with nonprofits. Guys, you want to be talking to other nonprofits like you or similar to your mission, and don't be scared to be like, no, this, because sometimes they can write a program and write your organization in and help fund and get you started on certain programs. So you want to work together. So
Yeah, definitely.
so
Just talking about that, a lot of nonprofits, they have their huge programs, but they want to reach a certain area and they look for smaller nonprofit or even like similar size nonprofit just to go and do the program and they will fund it. So that's very true that, we all need each other. As Brittany said when we first spoke,
yes.
we all need each other
so
and we're stronger together. So that's amazing. Thank you so much, ladies. Like, if you want to say anything, we've been over an hour now, so I don't want to like make it a huge video for the people. But like, if you want to say last word, like each of you, like feel free to share, and then we're gonna end it. And I will have this on YouTube next week, so they can watch it again. But it will be always on Facebook also. Go ahead.
Well, I want to say
yeah.
thank you for this opportunity and having us, and the things that you do with keeping nonprofit organizations structured with their booking. Again, guys, I told you that was key. So you definitely want to check it out. And with your taxes, that is key. So guys, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. I'm just a servant. I love to serve, and so do a lot of nonprofit organizations out here. And so I'm here to make your process easy and have a backbone that someone you can lean on with your organization, someone you can trust in to get you to point A to point Z. And again, just reach out to me at 214-994-9452. email me at grantsbylexi@gmail.com, or message me on LinkedIn at Grants by Lexi. And again, if you want to get more information, watch us on different podcasts. We're on Google Cast, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Lady Grant Scribes podcast. And you can email us at ladygrantscribes@gmail.com, or you can reach me at 214-994-9452 about the podcast as well. And so I'm going to give it over to my partner in crime, my fellow lady scribe, and so she can say all her wonderful handles, or you can find her with Writing the Vision Plain, and about our workshop that's coming up as well.
So just real quick to close it out, I also wanted to thank you as well, Noura, for giving me, for giving Alexis, for giving us this opportunity to not only collaborate, but to just like spread the word about nonprofit organizations and where to find grant writers, because that's me and Alexis. We put the neon sign with the arrow saying it's me, I'm here. But for Write the Vision Plainly, that's pretty much the acronym for my company for all my handles. So for my email, it's wtvpllc@gmail.com. And of course, Noura will put our handles in the description post below. My Instagram and Facebook is at wtvpllc20. My website, my main website to get to know me, what I do as a grant writer, consultant, that is wtvpllc.now.site. And to get, like I said, for a limited time, to go ahead and get your copy of both of my ebooks, which is the Guide to the Novice Grant Writer Revised and From Novice Grant Writer to Business Owner. I just need your name and your email, and that for the right download, that site is grantebooks, plural, .now.site. And like Alexis said, you can find us at Lady Grant Scribes. Our email, follow us on Eventbrite. For our event coming up, we're going over the Articles of Incorporation Form 202, and that will be taking place on November 18th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So please set your clocks accordingly. And internationally, we welcome all our audiences, because nonprofits and grant writing is not just like, it doesn't just stop here in Texas where we are. It's nationwide, it's global, it's everywhere, and it's the same process, just maybe in a different language. But yeah, that's definitely where to find us. We're on Twitter at Lady Scribes. We're on Facebook at LGSP21. We're on Instagram at Lady Grant Scribes Podcast. So yeah, just, follow us. We open our network to you all, partner with us. We look for things like that. And, we want to educate you.
Mhm. Thank you. It looks like another power outage. I'm sorry. So thank you so much. I'm really happy to have you on, and I will put the information for Brittany and Alexa in the down below, and also I will put the information about workshop they have on November, and the link for their ebooks. I also have an ebook for nonprofits, just to keep your status, to help you keep your status. So you can also download for free. Now, like today, you got like a lot of free guides that will help you manage your nonprofit and get it funded. If you have any question, feel free to comment down below. We will try to answer your question in another live or in another time, or just like contact Brittany or Alexa, and or contact me if you have any question, and we will be happy to serve you. And if you want us to talk about any other thing, feel free to comment or send requests for any of us, and we will make sure to bring more information to you. And we'll see you later.
All right. See you
Thank you,
later.
Brittany. Thanks.